So I went to Target as one does, and I have some exciting new makeup here to try. It's actually not new, but it is new to me. This is the brand Undone Beauty. All of their stuff was on clearance at my Target. I'm not sure if they're rebranding, but most of this stuff was like $8, and I've always wanted to try their products, so I just went in and picked up everything that I could to share and review with you today. And that's how we got this full face look. It was super fun. Before we start, if you're not already subscribed, I would love to have you, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find it enjoyable at any point, and let me know if you've ever seen this brand at your Target or you've tried anything. But let's get into this makeup look. Diving into the makeup, the first product I have is the Undone Beauty Unfoundation Glow Tint. It says that this is light coverage, vegan and cruelty free. Also has skin loving coconut extract. So I picked up the shade 425 Cream Light, which I believe is the lightest shade. It was the lightest shade at my Target, and it definitely looks like it would be too dark for me, but I did use this yesterday and it's so sheer it seemed to be fine. And also at Target, the shade range did seem to be pretty limited, but by how sheer this is, it might work. I'm just shaking up first. They do also have a matte version of this, which I saw as well and was very curious about, but I just wanted to go with the original one. So I'm going to put some of this on the back of my hand. So it does have a pretty warm undertone, which for me is usually a good thing. And the texture is very sort of just like, it's thin, as you can tell on my face, but it still has some viscosity to it. And I'm gonna try it at first with my sponge. Usually I'm not a light coverage skin tint type of person, but lately I've been using them and just using like more concealer if I want a very light skin look. See, like the shade basically just blended really nicely into my skin. You could probably use your fingers with this, but I like using a sponge. I am probably going to be using a lot more product because with such a thin formula, sponges do soak up a lot of it, but I just like the finish of it. This blends in like a dream. Also doesn't really have too much of a scent. A little makeup-y maybe, but nothing too strong. It feels really nice and gentle on my skin too. So I feel like it actually did a really good job at evening my skin tone. You can still see my active spots and scarring, and also I get like a lot of redness down here. Usually doesn't show up on camera, but that's still showing through. I would definitely add more coverage on top of this, but if you like really light coverage, I think the formula of this is really nice to apply, like super easy. You could do this in 2 seconds and go on with your day. It's actually reminding me a lot of the new Charlotte Tilbury foundation I just tried, but with a less like glowy finish. I really actually like the finish of this. You know I don't like super glowy things, and I was a little bit scared that this said it was a glow tint, but it's more just like a healthy glow. Like I can work with this amount of moisture. It doesn't feel like sticky or tacky or heavy or too oily slash glowy on my skin, which is a good thing. So I'm really interested in using this more, and I didn't think I would be sort of like this impressed with a skin tint because I don't love skin tints, but so far so good. I'm actually a little curious to see if this would build up, so I'm gonna use a little bit on my hand and just the areas I want more coverage. Start to see if we can build it up, maybe not. I'm not totally sure that did anything, but we tried. You also sell a concealer that comes in this kind of packaging, but it's a concealer with 3 different coverage levels, which sounded really cool to me, but they did not have my shade at my Target, unfortunately. So the next product I have, we're gonna try before I move on to concealer, because it's a gel-based product, I guess. This is the Undone Beauty. I have the packaging here because their packaging doesn't really like have much on it. It's their ultra blendable water-based bronzer. This sounded so weird but interesting to me, and this is the lightest shade 210 Baked. It says cool neutral to yellow undertones. Let's swatch it and see. If you use this with an oil-based product like on your face already, it would probably be a disaster. But there's the shade. It does not look cool tone to me. It's a little scary looking, honestly. A little orangey. Scared to try this, but let's go for it. Natural looking streak-free bronze. It has coconut water, no streaks, vegan, cruelty-free, all the good stuff. So I'm just gonna start with like my usual. It feels like really refreshing on my skin. It's kind of weird. It does have the skin tint on it now. It doesn't look the nicest. Let me use my sponge. It's definitely very sheer. I don't really know how to feel about this. I think because it's so sheer, the undertone was like fine on my skin. I just don't feel like it really did much. Like It did a little bit, you can see, but in my opinion, this is kind of like so sheer that I would never really reach for it. It also seems like a finicky formula to use over anything that has oil in it. Would probably maybe make it pill up or do some weird stuff, but with the skin tint, it looks good. Again, if you like super light stuff, you would probably enjoy this. It feels really cooling on the skin. I like that. This is very like innovative and cool, but I don't know if it's necessarily like my favorite type of product to reach for if I want some bronziness. I do have the blush to try next, but I'm gonna use some concealer. This is the Rose Ink one. That was a little bit much, so I'm just gonna use the extra for any areas I still just want some more coverage. Before we set the under eyes, I do have their blush here. This is called the Lip to Cheek palette. This has 3 different levels of pigment, which I think is really cool. So the top one here is sheer. This is the shade 310 Rosy, by the way. The middle shade has a little bit more pigment, and then this last one is the most pigmented. I don't know if this is gonna look good with our look today, but let's try it out. So there's the swatches. This one is sheer, medium, and then the more full coverage pigment one. Cool idea. I'm probably going to start with the sheer one just because I don't want to go too crazy. I'm also just gonna blend with my sponge. I really like using cream blushes with sponges. I feel like they just work the best. It's actually a really pretty color. I've been really into these like cool tone pink purples. That's super pretty. I'm gonna go into the medium shade just to boost the pigment a little bit. I like the choice of having 3 different amounts of saturation, especially if you have like a deeper skin tone and you need a blush to be more pigmented. You do have the more pigmented option. Or if you're fair like me and you need to start off very sheer, then there's also that option. It might be a little bit too much, but I like it. This is stunning. I think it looks really pretty on the skin. Went on like a dream. Really comparable to more high-end cream blushes. So I'm excited about this one. I went ahead and set my under eye and lightly all over my face, but I did leave the blush unset. I will say, like, I love this like skin base. This skin tint really reminds me of the new Charlotte Tilbury one, but with a better wear time and less of like a super glowy look. Like, it still gives you that natural glow without being too much. This is on clearance and you can find it for $8. You do not need the Charlotte Tilbury one. It's a very similar coverage level, and I feel like it's just very comfortable on the skin. Again, not something that's usually my forte, but once it's set down with concealer, like, it just looks really, really good on the skin. And for the bronzer, it is very sheer, but you know, I can still kind of see it. If you want super undetectable makeup, like no makeup, I mean, I feel like this would be a really cool line for you. It also gives me like younger vibes, like if you're just getting into makeup and you want something very natural. Also seems to be that kind of look. So the next product I have here is another bronzer. This is the Warm Up Bronzer Palette. They only had this shade at my Target. I'm not sure if they sell multiple shades of this. If they don't, then this really would only work for a certain amount of people. The shades in this scare me. They look very warm. Let me swatch them for you. On the top, you have these 2 mattes, which this one's actually pretty deep. And then on the bottom, you have these 2 glowy, like you could basically use these as highlight shades. There's this one, and then there's like this lighter gold one. And then all mixed together, you get this sort of shade. And then you could obviously just focus in on the matte part. This won't really make a bronzer, it's more of like a highlight. I think I'm going to avoid this darkest shade just because it's probably gonna be too dark on me, and just like swirl these bottom 3 shades and see what we get. So I'm going to use this like more tapered brush. But before I apply it, I'm just gonna like whack off a lot of the product. Whack off the product. That didn't sound good. I'm going to get rid of some of the product just so we don't go overboard and then apply it to my skin. Definitely warmer, but I do like layering up the bronzer like this. This is actually quite a pretty like pigmented form. Oh my god, this hair will not stay down. This powder is actually very like smooth, highly pigmented. Feels like very good quality for Target type of bronzer. The shade's a little bit warm for me, but I don't know, I'm really liking how it looks on with just using these 3 shades. But this is not something I would really reach for if I was going to like pick out one bronzer from Target. But if you have like a medium skin tone, I think this would be a really really beautiful bronzer on you. I'm just not sure if you're fair or if you have deeper skin, this would really work. It is more warm. I feel like I made it work, but again, like not my #1 pick, but pretty good. Next, I have the highlight version of this, which is called the Nonzer. I don't know why this would be called a Nonzer if it's a highlight. Do you get that? Explain it to me in the comments if you get that. This is a highlight, it says Nonzer. Maybe it means like non-luminizer. I think I might have figured it out there. Anyway, this comes with 4 different shades. These are really, really metallic shades. They're actually, these powders are very, very creamy. Like they're just stunning actually. So that's sort of the shade mixed up in the little crevice in my hand there. I do like how massive these compacts are. I just think it's fun to be able to like choose what kind of shade you want or mix them. I'm probably gonna start with this very light pink one. Actually light enough on my skin tone, which is rare for a highlight. These are more on the metallic side, something more metallic than I'm usually used to on the day-to-day. So stunning though. I think I might actually try a little bit of this purple one, just to gently mix it in. I'm feeling those. They're so, so pretty. This lighter shade with the purple mixed, that was the move. It looks really cool on. I would definitely use this as eyeshadow as well. Just put this on my lid. Like they're just very pretty metallic shades. I think between these two, I would definitely pick up the highlight one instead, just because it's a little bit more versatile, unless you have like a medium skin tone, because this basically already has highlights in it for you. And you could use either of them as eyeshadow. But I really like that purpley shade. It kind of reminds me of the new, how Ariana Grande came out with that new makeup line. She has like this purple highlight that looks really pretty. Same vibe for less. I'm actually going to take the highlight palette in this lightest pink shade, just pop it on my inner corner. Before we do mascara, I'm actually going to take this mid-tone bronzer shade and do that on my lower lash line, just to finish up the eyes. I love using products that don't necessarily like work for me as eyeshadow, so I don't totally waste them. Now I threw out the packaging, but I think this is their gel mascara. I will have it linked below. I did pick up the shade Dark Brown. This has the coolest brush on it. It's kind of like this oblong shape, and instead of having bristles all around, it's sort of just like these 4 points of bristles. Really interesting. So I curled my lashes and we're going to go ahead and apply this. And I will say I did try this already and I actually really, really love the effect. I'm not sure how it wears yet, but this brush is so cool because you can sort of like turn it on its side and literally like lift up your lashes with it without getting mascara on your lid. Super unique brush, like I love it. It does have like the plastic bristles, so really just like grabs all your lashes and coats them evenly. Very layerable. I don't find it's getting like clumpy or goopy. So I did put on quite a lot. You could do this more naturally, but I like the effect of it. It's not like super duper dramatic, but it is giving me like the drama that I like, which is, I'm very harsh with mascaras. Like if I don't like a mascara, like I will, you'll know if I don't like a mascara. This one's pretty decent if it does wear well. I do really like the application of it. Although I really like the brush for this on the upper lashes, it is a little weird on my bottom lashes, but other than that, like I really like this mascara. I don't know if it's like a tubing mascara. It dries very quickly and it just like looks really good. I did use quite a lot and I was able to build it up. I like the dark brown color. What's not to like about it so far? I hope that it wears well, because it would be cool to have like another Target mascara, drugstore mascara to recommend to you. We will see. But guys, the skin, I'm telling you, like I'm weirdly loving this. I did not think I would. I just lined my lips with my Lime Crime Topaz lip pencil, and then we're gonna use the Lip and Cheek palette again. I'm gonna use the full pigment one on my lips. This is a very creamy formula, but it's not too oily feeling, which I really like for a cream. It feels like it'll actually sort of stick where you put it. This isn't really a shade I would use on my lips. I don't know, I don't like love this shade, but I just wanted to see how it looked on the lip. I'm just gonna add a little bit of this Jason Wu. This is one of the Hot Fluffs, I think. This is the Biscotti shade, also available at Target. These are beautiful. That's definitely better, just to add some more warmth to it. I'm really liking how the face looks. I hope that everything else wears well. Like I mentioned, I did wear the skin tint yesterday and it wore really well. I'm not joking, this is literally Charlotte Tilbury vibes, but with a better wear time. It does sink into my smile lines a little bit, but not nearly as bad as a lot of my other foundations do. And it doesn't continually like get worse throughout the day. It just basically stays there, which I'm really fine with. And it looks really good. It doesn't get too oily. Just super surprising with the wear on this. I would have never thought that this like random product from Target would be a really nice product. But yeah, this is the face. So that was everything for our full face of Undone Beauty. I'm definitely interested in trying more of their products. They're on clearance on Target. I will link them below. I think they're selling pretty fast in terms of like shades of the concealer. I did also want to mention they sell a powder, which they did have at my Target. I didn't pick it up because the lightest shade seemed very yellow, and I'm just personally so sick of powders being too dark for my skin tone. I feel like I waste so much money on them. I just went ahead and passed on that, but if you have tried it and liked it, let me know. But let me quickly run through my thoughts. The Unfoundation Glow Tint, I actually really like this. It's light coverage. If you don't like light coverage, pass on this, but if you do, give it a shot. I mean, it's really good in my opinion. I like how it looks. It just is really, really stunning on the skin. I'm interested in the matte one, but if you're also scared of this being too glowy, I have pretty oily skin and I don't feel like it got too oily looking. Like it kind of just maintains this type of glow, which is really nice for a skin tint. And then we have the water bronzer. This was fun and cool, and it was an exciting product to play around with, but I honestly don't see myself reaching for this really ever again. Maybe if I use the skin tint again, but I just prefer using a more pigmented cream bronzer or a powder bronzer. But with that being said, it did perform nicely over the skin tint. I was a little bit worried about how the formula would react with other products, but like it set down nicely and it went on smoothly. It was streak free, just like they mentioned, a little bit warm in terms of the shade, but if you like very, very natural, undetectable makeup, you might like that one as well, because you know, it's not horrible, it's just not my personal cup of tea. And then we have the bronzer. Not my favorite. Like, it was okay. It's just a little bit warm than I would personally like, at least when I am this fair. Maybe in the summer this would be really pretty. I may also just use this as like a body bronzer or eyeshadow. I'll definitely repurpose it somehow. I do like how everything is so big, you can use it individually. And then the highlight palette called the Nonzer. This is really nice. It is more on the metallic side, just beware of that. If you don't like a more metallic highlight, you might not love this, but if you do like a more dramatic highlight and maybe you have fair skin, this is really pretty. I liked how I mixed this light pink with the purple. It's not too dark on my skin. It's giving me a very natural glow and I'm feeling it. You could also use this on your body. You can use it for eyeshadow. It's a fun product. Hydrogenated coconut oil is in there. If you have acne prone skin, that might not be the best. Does this one have it in there too? I hope the skin tint doesn't. I don't see hydrogenated coconut oil, but it does have coconut oil as the last ingredient. If you break out from coconut oil, beware of that. I'm not sure if I break out. We'll see how this treats my skin. But last product. Next is the Lip to Cheek palette in 310 Rosy. I really like this on the cheek. Like I mentioned, very comparable to high-end cheek product. I like how you get the 3 different levels of pigment. It's a fun idea and I really like this shade. If you like cream blush, I think you would love this. Really a bargain for a cream blush. Coconut oil in this one as well. I think all these products probably have coconut oil in them, so beware of that. And then the last one we have is the Undone Beauty mascara. Love the look of it. It looks really pretty on the eyes. I love the brush. It's super innovative. I think overall this brand has a lot of unique, innovative products which get me excited, even though maybe the vibe of this brand isn't really my makeup vibe all of the time. I liked trying these products out and this was a really good one. Usually most mascaras I try disappoint me, so it's exciting when one doesn't. We will see how it wears. I'll probably update you guys in the comments below. And those were all of the products I tried from them. Let me know if you've tried anything from Undone Beauty and if you like them or if you want to see any more of their products in future reviews. But thank you guys for tuning in and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.